Hi, it's Bob Kraft from Kapolei, Hawaii, and today is July 30th, 2025. It's in the morning time, and I thought I would bring you up to date on the tsunami because it was totally unexpected that I was involved in that. Uh, I try to go camping about twice a month. I'm starting that process on island, and I go to different campsites and I just enjoy myself and learn about the area. Well, a few weeks ago, I booked a campsite that was one of the key areas for where the tsunami was coming in yesterday, and it was totally unknown to me when I booked it. Obviously. So it was amazing because on you're supposed to arrive at 3 o'clock to set up your camping site. So I got there about 2:30, and I was looking. It was absolutely fabulous. It's called the windward side of Oahu, which is kind of the key area facing toward Russia and the Asian area, which is where the tsunami was coming from, earthquake in Russia. So I began to set up my site. I brought out the camping chair. I was getting ready to bring out um, the tent, and then the guy who kind of works there for like the parks and recreations or the natural resources, he was going around telling people to leave because of the tsunami. So I listened to him and I thought, well, um, should I set up the tent and then just leave? Something like that. And he was pretty clear. He said it'd be a good idea to leave. Now at that point they hadn't given the warning. They had just said there was an earthquake and people should be prepared for perhaps a tsunami to the island of Hawaii. So I was like, okay, do I just forget about the 10 if a tsunami hit and I drive away, and then I can always come back after it's canceled or it hits. Who cares about a 10, right? I would save my life. So I sat there and I decided, well, the best thing to do is to leave and immediately. And people were leaving. All the road was clogged with cars, and the scenery was absolutely beautiful because I was only 20 feet from the ocean where my camping site was, and I was about 10 feet from the sand. So I was like, wow, this is fabulous. This is going to be a great place to camp, but not at the cost of my life. So then the where I was camping is a state park. I think it's called Ahupuaʻa, something like that. It's a Hawaiian name, okay? And you can see the picture on the video. And so there's cliffs right behind the road, so you would have nowhere to go if a tsunami hit. You couldn't go to higher ground because it was cliffs. And so I got in the car and I got in the road, and then a few minutes after I got in the car, the sirens went off, and I thought, oh boy, the tsunami is hitting, and I was really scared. So I turned off the road and I took a back road and I went up as high as I could, which was still not high enough, but that's the best I could do. And then I heard the radio say it was just a warning that they expected the tsunami to hit about 3 or 4 hours later. So they were just testing the system. So every hour they would test the system. And at 7 p.m., they said that's when the tsunami was coming in, 7:12. So that gave me like an hour to drive along the road. Now the road goes along the beach for like an hour, and there's nowhere to go. You have to take that road, and the cars were packed on the road. There were even people. I even saw an accident where someone who wasn't paying attention had hit the car in front of them, and then I saw another car drive on the wrong side of the road because there were no cars, very few cars coming on the opposite side of the road. And he was like trying to get away as fast as he could. Could have been a tourist. And I had been in a very bad tsunami in Sri Lanka in 2004, and so I knew kind of what it was like, what to expect. I was saved really by a miracle along with my family because we had moved to stay with a family instead of a hotel along the beach. I ended up staying with a family. My family didn't come for that period of time, and I was there working, and I moved in about a mile away from the beach with a family for a week, and that saved my life. So I knew about tsunamis, and I'd seen the destruction. I knew what to expect. So I kind of was like, well, people are really, they need to really take safeguards against this, because it can be a 2 foot wave, or it can be a 30-foot wave, and no one really knows what to expect. It's impossible to predict it. So you need to assume that you're going to be hit with a big wave. Or it could be a 2 foot wave. But people were really afraid on island. They were evacuating. They were going up to higher ground, which was the right thing to do. And then it turned out in the evening time it was just a small wave. Now, I followed along on the internet with the state of Hawaii, and right around my area, the closest place that they had measured the waves to where I was staying was 4 feet. So I was about 2 feet off the sand. My site was a grassy site right next to the beach. And let's face it, if a 4 foot wave hit, it would have wiped my tent out and wiped me out probably, even though it's only 4 feet or 2 feet. I would have been soaked or dead. And I made the right decision to leave. I gave up my campsite, just left. I figured, well, I'll come back another time because it's absolutely gorgeous there. And from the information that I received this morning, 4 foot wave hit that area of the island, the highest wave. It was a tsunami wave, but 4 foot doesn't really do much damage. But it would have swamped my tent because I was right next to the beach. So I'm glad I left. And no damage to the island. I'm safe. I came immediately home. I just drove home. And my home is not in the evacuation zone. It's behind it. I live about maybe 3/4 of a mile from the beach, or a mile. So I was safe. But it turned out there was nothing happened on the island. But it's a good lesson to learn. And keep in mind that if you live near the sea or you're visiting as a tourist, don't take these kind of things lightly. Immediately evacuate, because you don't know what to expect. So I just wanted to tell everybody my own story of the tsunami for Hawaii. I'm safe, and thank you for everybody who sent me messages asking if I was safe, because I did get quite a few personal messages asking that question. So thank you, and for all those who were praying for me. Take care, everybody. See you later.